everybody. Welcome to Socaldramtram. I'm Matt.
And I'm Cesar.
And today, before we get into this bottle, we just want to say, if you're new here, thanks for checking us out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out. If you're a returning viewer, hey, we appreciate you as always, but don't forget, everybody hit the bell so you know when we drop a new video. But today, what do we got on the bar, Cesar?
Today we got something from your bar, my brother.
That's right. We got another blue bottle of awesomeness. Say that 5 times fast. We got Waterford Whisky, Bannow Island, edition 1.1. Hit it. So, Waterford Whisky, Bannow Island, edition 1.1. A little bit of a story on this bottle. We reviewed something from Waterford not that long ago. It was the Ballykilcaven edition 1.1. It's up here. You can check it out. Really fun review. But after you watch this review, don't click away now. Finish this one first. But nonetheless, the one thing with Waterford is that they are about tracking and transparency, right? We talked about it in our last Waterford review. And this bottle is no different. Just like Ballykilcaven, there's a terroir code on this guy. And we will go ahead and link that in the description below. So if you want to know more about the bottle, be sure you check that out. But I'll give you a little bit of a history on the bottle. So this comes by way of grower Ed Harbour. He's a farmer on Bannow Island, and he was actually one of the first 40 growers for Waterford. We mentioned before that Waterford has 76 farms. I don't know if that's changed, but they had 76 farms at the start that even met the requirements for growing their barley. So that's kind of cool that he was part of the first 40. Excuse me. His farm is actually located on Bannow Island, and something that's kind of interesting with it is evidently if you stand and stare directly down at his field, you can actually see the shoreline of the water, which is pretty sweet. And if you actually go into the sounds of Bannow Island underneath the terroir code, again, kind of cool, you can actually hear the crashing waves too, which is kind of sweet. And one of the little notable facts in the actual description is that the barley had this like white coat on it when it came. I think it was in the summertime. It's either the summer or the winter. I can't remember exactly. But it had like this white coating on it. It was from all the salty air that was kind of on it.
That's pretty cool.
Which will kind of play in a little bit later on this bottle.
Interesting.
But the barley for this whiskey was actually harvested on September 7th of 2015, day after my birthday, and it was distilled in June of 2016. It was distilled by James Eccleston, Ian O'Brien, Patrick Power, and Kane DeRain. Yes, I have notes. I'm looking at them because I would not remember those names. And furthermore, we're going to go into some other notes right here. After maturing for 3 years, 7 months, and 27 days in First Fill US, Virgin US, Premium French, and ready for it, Vindois Natural. It was bottled at 50% ABV, and it's one of 8,616 bottles in edition 1.1. So nonetheless, after that full mouthful of history lesson on this liquid, let's get into it.
Let's get it.
I cracked the neck pour on this a little bit earlier today because it came in fairly recently, so I haven't had a chance to hit it yet. But you've had a sample of it now as well. What are some of your going in expectations on this? Because I'll tell you, I already know that I'm pretty excited for it because we spoke very highly of the last Waterford.
Yeah, so for this one, I mean, Irish whiskey obviously, you know, is known to be light, and with the terroir, Waterford is really into saying like, all right, well, all of our whiskeys are going to be different because we have a bunch of different farmers from different regions. And at first, you know, it's easy to say, but as far as, you know, changing light whiskey, there's only so much you can do with it, right? So we'll see. I hope they do good because that last one was amazing. But I just hope it's different than the last.
Yeah, I think when it comes to something like this, again, obviously Waterford's a newer distillery, new in the fact that they're releasing product. They've been around obviously for a few years because they've been distilling and aging. But it's, for me, like we were talking about this off camera, it's about, is there a difference? Is there enough of a difference for me to seek out another bottle? Is there enough of a difference for me to drop more money when maybe there's other whiskey that I want to buy? So like, for example, with me, with GlenDronach, we've reviewed the 12, we've reviewed the 18. Yeah. I have a bottle of the 15. We also reviewed reviewed. Oh, we've been drinking today. One of the cast strength options. We know we like GlenDronach, and we know there's enough of a difference in the flavor profiles to warrant getting another bottle. There's no exception when it comes to Waterford. There is a difference when it comes to bottle, and so I'm excited to see what the product that is still going to be keeping coming out, and the different farmers and things like that are going to be coming out, and just to see what the differences are going to be. Like in my mind, I envision one day, a year down the road, we got 6 or 8 bottles of Waterford in front of us, and we're tasting the differences. Because so far the 2 that I've had, they are different. Real quick on the coins today, because we almost forgot, I'm actually going to be using my Whiskey Tribe coin. This one's a little bit different than the ones I've used in the past. This is just the Bear and the Eagle over at Crowded Barrel, the Fang and Feather. And on the back it just says, Magnificent Bastards of the World unite in celebration of whiskey and adventures. That's basically a creed right there. Who are you using?
So for my coaster coin, I'm using the Old Soul, the OG Whiskey Soldier. And then for my topper coin, I'm using my because last time I tried this whiskey, it was so good.
So I kind of cheated. I already had a little bit. But on the nose on this guy, it's interesting, right? Because I don't know if you guys can see the color on camera. Very, very light, right? Almost kind of like a honey, lighter straw. Like it's not a super dark color, but on the nose, it's really interesting. It almost smells sherry to me.
True.
Right? Like I get a little bit of raisin, almost get a little bit of stone fruit in there.
And we definitely didn't get that from the first one.
No, very different nose. No. The other one for me was like mint, berries, like creams, things like that. But again, this one I get a little bit of sherry note in there, some raisins, some apricots, and then for this one, it's just, there's still a malty foundation to it, almost like, and this is where that interesting factor of the salt, the salty air on the barley, like it almost smells like a saltine cracker. Like you have like with chicken noodle soup when you're sick, because you don't want to eat anything else, so soup and crackers. It almost smells like a saltine cracker. So super interesting nose, and I really dig the nose. Like even at 50%, it doesn't really hit you unless you take a long pull on it.
No, on the nose that. You know that it's a little bit saltine cracker, light crisp, still traditional to Irish whiskey for sure. So here's where I was saying, like, if you really kind of notice a difference with the last one and this one, and for sure you notice a difference, even though it's still light Irish whiskey. This, however, is a little bit more malty. So it going down is a little bit more like a scotch. But the funny thing is, now that I let time go by, like it drinks like a very light scotch because it's nice and malty. But the finish actually reverts and comes back to like traditional Irish whiskey. Like for me, the finish goes right back to that. All right, now here we are, light and crisp and dreamy and beautiful, going back down your throat, ready for another sip. But I love how like that first sip is very like malty, very light scotch.
You can tell that there's a foundation to it, right?
Like
the malty foundation in something like a Old Pulteney, or for me like Glenfarclas, things like that. It's very present. Like you taste the malt in there. It's kind of the same thing with Waterford. I'm finding out where like, clearly they're doing something to try to highlight the barley. They're going through all this effort of tracking and tracing and selecting the growers, things like that. It's making a difference. Like it's making a difference in the whiskey, and that's awesome. For me, on the palate on this guy, very fruity. Like I can't quite put my, finger on like any specific fruit that I'm getting out of it, but it's almost like a fruit salad where you just have a concoction of different fruits that just kind of explode. It's tart, almost kind of like you're biting into a lemon. I'm probably going to say that's like the 50% ABV. It's not necessarily that it's lemon flavor. It's just like that experience you get from biting into something sour. Like it's very tart. Little bit of a waxy mouthfeel as well. Like it definitely stays with you. But the sherry notes are still present. Like I still get those raisins. And the way sherry kind of like clings to the roof of your mouth, I'm getting that with this whiskey. And I almost get like a little bit of fresh tobacco leaf, like when you pack like a cigar pipe, no, a tobacco pipe or a copper pipe, things like that. It's definitely really, really nice. It transitions for me into just like vanilla cream though, right before the finish. And I think when you were saying like the traditional Irish notes, for me, like butter, shortbread, vanilla, that's traditional Irish for me. And like it just transitions back into that so nicely. Like it's a really well-rounded experience.
No, it's definitely well-rounded. I don't get any of that tobacco note, like whatsoever. But the maltiness is there, and that sherry, I'm definitely getting for sure. And for me, the first Waterford we had was very waxy, like a lot more waxy than this. This kind of like slows it down as far as it like drinking it, so it's slowing it down to a little bit more malty as far as my palate goes. But yeah, I definitely agree. It's definitely very good, and especially for that 50% ABV, I'm still blown away that it tastes this light. Like I could probably drink a 5-finger pour comfortably in like 30 seconds by downing it because of how smooth it is. So like it's incredibly smooth for it being 50% alcohol. So that's some good stuff. So San Francisco World Spirits Competition, you watch out for these guys next time. This is like a double gold, best in class, all in one standard for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I put 3 drops of water on it. That's kind of like my standard when it comes to whiskey. Is I just drop 3 drops of water. Now I haven't had it with water yet, and so I'm gonna let it kind of marry together for a little bit. But you know what's interesting with the water on the nose, but also just with its neat. You know what I'm not getting in this at all, which I am surprised considering it's in virgin oak at some point. Is pepper. I get no pepper in this glass.
Yeah, no, I got no pepper.
I'm super shocked because we're usually pretty attuned to that. Now, maybe that speaks to the youth of our palate, but like we're getting no pepper.
Hey, don't jinx it. Crazy. We just put water in. Don't like, jinx it. Don't jinx it. Yeah.
But it was interesting. I wanted to say one thing about the finish though on it. Neat. It almost finishes it like with a white wine. Like it's dry on the finish.
I
get like vanilla, pear, and even though it's dry, the flavor is still staying. It's like when you finish a glass of whiskey and you go to bed because maybe you had one too many and you forgot to wash the glass, and the next morning you're like, oh, that smells good. That's the kind of finish experience that I'm having where like it's still with me. It's not like liquidy staying with me, like it's not on my mouth or on my palate or anything like that. It's just dry, but the flavors are still there. It's a really nice experience.
No, that's a good way to put it, man. Like I'm not a big wine drinker, so I couldn't relate it that quick. But you know what? I've had white wine before, and that's a nail on the head. Like that finish is definitely like a nice white wine with pear.
Yeah. My wife and I really like wines, and Riesling is one of our favorite, and it's very reminiscent of this Riesling that we like, and it's barely above $2 Chuck, but it's really nice, and it's given me a very similar finish. But with the water on the nose, you put water on it
yet? Yeah, I just put it. I haven't sipped it yet, though.
It's interesting. So the water kind of tames that 50% a little.
That pepper, though.
See, I'm still not getting pepper. You know what I'm getting now, though, is like vanilla honey cream. Like, it's very interesting. Like, it's almost like a bowl of honeycomb cereal, like with milk, and it's just been sitting there for a few minutes, and like you're halfway through the bowl. That kind of smell with the honeycomb cereal, the maltiness of it, and just the milk kind of marries everything together. I'm getting like a very vanilla honeycomb with this.
Actually. Actually, I'm not sure if I get that pepper because I was like, that finish is going nice. That finish is going. This, folks. Now I take that back. I don't think there's pepper in there, but there is a rise in something when you put water in it and you take that first sip.
There's a little spike.
Yeah. There's something like a little spice or something that rises a little bit. But at first glance, I thought it was gonna be worse than it really is. But now that I'm taking more sips, it's not bad. As a matter of fact, I think I almost like this alone, like by itself, as much as I like it with water. I don't know if I can see which one I like better because the finish with the water is is marvelous. Like it stretches the original finish. Like the original finish was already good, came back to that light traditional Irish whiskey, but then it stopped. This with the water, it lingers and it keeps it going.
It's not as dry, which is interesting. But I see what you're saying about the spiky, peppery note. I'm getting it more so on the back end rather than on the nose and the front palate, but it's still not a pepper. It's very interesting to me.
I would say almost like a spice.
Maybe, I was going to say, maybe it's like a barrel spice element. Who knows? There's so much going on in whiskey in general. Then you take somebody like Waterford where they're intentionally looking to like blow your head off of the shoulders. You know what I mean? It's damn good. Like it's a really good complex glass of whiskey. So let's talk a little bit about price on this guy, right? Because they dropped their bottles. So this one and the Ballykilcaven were released in Europe and Asia, if I'm not mistaken. So I did have to buy this online. You can see the UK sticker right there. I didn't pay more than retail for both the Ballykilcaven and the Bannow. So I want to say it was about $85. Now with shipping and tariff, there was a little bit extra. But so whiskyworld.com, which is where I usually order from, and that's where I got the Ballykilcaven one. I paid retail on that Ballykilcaven. I set a notification for this one when it came back in stock. I actually got this through abbywhiskey.com for anybody curious. They're sold out now. Who knows? Maybe they're not when this video drops. I don't know. But when this one came back in stock on Whiskey World, when I first saw it, it was $85. When it came back on stock, it was $250.
Damn.
So there's a lot of hype around it. Would I say that this is worth $250? No, I wouldn't. It's good. Don't get me wrong. That's not an indictment of the whiskey being bad or anything like that, because it's definitely not. Is it a $250 bottle of whiskey though? $250, I can get a lot of good whiskey for that. And I'm not even talking like one bottle. I could get a bottle of that Wild Turkey 17 up here, plus some extra bottles. But is it appropriately priced by the distillery at $85 for the whiskey that you're getting, for the tracking and transparency that you're getting? Absolutely. I think 85 is a pull the trigger on this bottle. Again, this one is a Europe and Asia release, so I'm excited to see when they finally get over to the States to see what we get. I know there's an edition 1.2 on this guy now, so I'm kind of curious to see if and when I can find that to compare. But it's...
Waterford, we're looking at you.
Exactly, right? But I will say, I actually really enjoy this. And actually, something kind of cool. After our last review for Ballykilcaven, I know you know this, but you guys out there in TV land or YouTube land don't know. Mark Rayner, who's the founder of the distillery, actually emailed us and said thank you for the review. So that was just kind of cool. He didn't need to or anything like that. We super appreciate it. Kind of gave us some, just fun pats on the back. So, virtual high five to you, Mark. But it's definitely worth the price point is what I'm saying. It's definitely great whiskey in the bottle. It's definitely exceptional whiskey in the bottle. I'm kind of wrapping this into my score here. I think I gave Ballykilcaven a 5. I'm going to give this... I'm going to give it a 4. I think for this guy, it's a little bit... The Ballykilcaven is a little bit more my preference, but that's not saying this is bad. I absolutely love this. I can't wait to A/B them side by side because I think it's going to be a really fun way to experience the whiskey and to see if you can actually pull it out. So it's a 4 from me. Where are you going?
I'm definitely going to say it's a 4 as well. I would probably play, to be honest, as far as price goes, 85. Like that's a great price. Like anybody should pull the trigger on that. I would pay upwards of probably, to be honest, like $100-$120 for this bottle.
Yeah, I think 125 is about the max that I pay.
Yeah, that I would comfortably pay that. So even at that price range, I'd still give it a 4. So it's like overall, flavor is amazing. The price point you really can't beat if you can find. And as far as new distilleries go, man, it continues to be ahead of the game.
2 for 2.
Yeah,
at least with us.
It continues to be ahead of the game. So a solid 4 for sure. And I can't wait to see what that 1.1 has to offer as well. Just to
you mean 1.2
or 1.
I'm like we're tasting 1.1.
1.2.
So nonetheless, guys, it's a 4 from me. It's a 4 from Cesar. Again, I think it's safe to say that we'd say if you could find a bottle of Waterford, you should probably pick it up. Definitely worth trying it out. If you live in Europe and Asia, you could maybe get it at a bar, try it out, see if it's your flavor profile. But if you can buy a bottle and you can get it for not a crazy, stupid, expensive price, you should definitely pull the trigger on it. Guys, hey, hit us up on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We love interacting with you guys there. More importantly, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of this review. Have you had Waterford? Let us know. We really appreciate the feedback. And don't forget, if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe. The button's somewhere like right here. I don't know, hit it, subscribe. If it's not there, hit it in a second. You got anything else you want to add today, Cesar?
Nah, what about you, Matt?
Stay safe, drink well, guys. All aboard. Catch you next time. Hey everybody, hope you liked that video.
Don't forget to hit that bell for notifications.
And don't forget to subscribe.